طيب. Then he says وأبيض يستسقى الغمام بوجهه. يا سلام. ثمال اليتامى عصمة للأرامل. وأبيض يستسقى الغمام بوجهه ثمال اليتامى عصمة للأرامل. أبيض over here is معطوف upon سيدا. سيدا. And therefore, نعم, أبيض should also be منصوب. أبيض should also be mansub because it's معطوف upon سيدا. So it's continuing the sifat of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And Ibn Hisham in Mughni al-Labib over here, he made this waw, he used this line actually as an example where waw can come in the meaning of رب. بمعنى رب. ورب أبيض يستسقى الغمام بوجهه. نعم. However, some, or to show that رب can also be used in the meaning of taqleel. رب is something that can be used for the meaning of takthir. It can also be used in the meaning of taqleel. So in order to show that رب can be used in the meaning of taqleel, he brought this example. وأبيض يستسقى الغمام بوجهه ثمال اليتامى or ثمال اليتامى عصمة للأرامل. However, this was not accepted by everyone. Meaning, is this waw really in the meaning of rubba, or is it simply waw atifa? What seems more likely is that it's simply waw atifa, and it's simply further elaborating on the noble traits of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, regardless, even if it was the waw in the meaning of rubba, then abyad will simply be majroor in that situation, and because it's ghayr munsarif, it will also receive a fatha. And otherwise, it's mansoob to begin with, and it receives a fatha because it is ataf upon sayyid. Another way of reading it is with a dhamma. You can say وَأَبْيَضُ يُسْتَسْقَى الْغَمَامُ. In that situation, the mubtada would be mahdhuf. Yani وَهُوَ أَبْيَضُ. The mubtada would be considered mahdhuf. But the asl is that you don't do hadaf. And the asl is عدم التقدير. The default is that we don't assume that there's words. Rather, you take what is apparent. So what's better in this one is to say وَأَبْيَضَ يُسْتَسْقَى الْغَمَامُ بِوَجْهِهِ. طيب. Abyada over here is in the meaning of al-karim, a noble individual. So it's in the meaning of karam. The literal meaning of abyad is for something to be white. Abyad normally is white. But the Arabs, they use the word abyad to indicate upon something which is free of blemishes, free of defects, just like a white cloth that has no dots on it and is completely free of all defects. Okay. Likewise, there are certain individuals that have no blemishes. They're perfect individuals. They're noble. They have reached the peak of human ability. And that was the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In fact, there is no second to him in all of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's the greatest of all creation. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, وَأَبْيَضَ يُسْتَسْقَى الْغَمَامُ بِوَجْهِهِ. To what extent? He says, يُسْتَسْقَى الْغَمَامُ بِوَجْهِهِ. Istasqa means to seek water. No. To seek water. And Sin, Qaf, and Ya, these three letters, they literally indicate upon the meaning of giving someone water to drink. Saqa means to give someone water to drink. So when you add this in bab istif'al, the sin and the ta over here indicate upon talab. Yani talabu, seeking that water be given to drink. Na'am. So yustasqa al-ghamamu bi-wajhihi. Al-ghamam is referring to the clouds. Na'am. Yustasqa al-ghamamu bi-wajhihi. Meaning by way of the noble face of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the noble barakah, the blessing of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yustasqa al-ghamam. Water is sought from the clouds. And there is no doubt in this as well. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam was mubarak, and his barakah was such that was experienced by the Sahaba. Yani the physical body of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam was mubarak. It was blessed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him barakah that was felt and people around him knew of this barakah. And this barakah was not granted to him only after he received prophethood sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This barakah was within him even before he received prophethood. And there's no doubt in this. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born as Mubarak. For example, the famous story that every one of us must know in Seerah. As soon as the Messenger was born, when he went with Halima al-Sa'diyah, what happened with her ride? And what happened with all of the animals when she arrived back home? And what happened with herself? She gained strength, and she was granted strength through the barakah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So as a baby who was born, in fact, even before he was born, the mother of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Amina, she mentions that it was a very light pregnancy and she didn't even feel it. So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him barakah in his that, in the essence, in the body, the physical body of the Messenger itself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was Mubarak. And that was barakah which was granted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why there is no khilaf amongst the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah that doing tabarruk, meaning seeking barakah through the athar, through the relics of the Messenger himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is not only mashru', it's not only prescribed and legislated, rather it is one of the greatest things a person could do if he had the chance to do it. So that is why the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum, they would do this. And they would do this even after the Messenger passed away. And it's a misunderstanding. Some say that you can only seek barakah through the athar, the relics of the Messenger while he was alive and not after he passed away. That is a mistake. That is a khata. From the athar of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yes, there are those that you only have access to when he's alive. Now, of course, if you don't have access to his athar after he's passed away, then how can you seek barakah through it? Like, for example, from the sahabiyat are those that would mix the blessed, it was blessed sweat of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam with her perfume in order that the perfume attain fragrance and smell better, using the blessed sweat of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And from the companions were those that would take his wudu, the remaining water after he had made wudu, and they would wipe it over their faces and their bodies, seeking its barakah, because they knew who was blessed sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like the wudu of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do we have access to it after he passed away sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The answer is no. We don't have access to the water which the Messenger used to make wudu right now, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So from his athar are those, without a doubt, you don't have access to after he passes away, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But from his athar are those that we do have access to after he passes away, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is also proven through a hadith. Ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, when he would head towards Mecca for Hajj, on his way, randomly, he would go to a certain place and he would lean and sit down over there. And after some time, he would come back. So his companions, they asked him, they said, why do you do this? So he said, when we went with the Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we seen that the Messenger, he needed to relieve himself, so he went over there and he sat down. I don't need to relieve myself, but just because he did it, I want to do that. Likewise, from the companions, Salamat ibn al-Akwa', he used to specifically go and pray salah right behind Ustuwanatul Mushaf, right behind the pillar, which is now towards the right of the mihrab in al-Masjid al-Nabawi, where the Imam stands, where the Messenger's mihrab is, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The right side of that, there's a pillar. And that was known as Ustuwanatul Mushaf because later on, Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he placed the Mushaf of the people of Medina upon that pillar. So Salama radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he always used to come and pray salah right behind that pillar. So he was asked regarding that by one of his disciples. So he replied by saying, why should I not pray salah in the place where the Messenger used to pray salah? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So to pray salah in the exact location where the Messenger prayed salah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that is tabarruk bi-atharihi. That is seeking barakah through his relics. The place where he prayed, we will pray exactly in that place. That is what the Sahaba were doing. In fact, where he walked, where he was, to go to exactly that location because he was there. That is what we have proven in the hadith in Sahihain, as is the hadith of Ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhuma. So some of the athar of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam remain even after he passes away, and using those athar to seek barakah is mashru', it's legislated, and is correct. Yes, there are those athar that no longer remain, and we have been deprived of being able to seek the barakah through those athar. So he says, وَأَبْيَضَ يُسْتَسْقَى al-ghamaam bi-wajhihi. And this is not ba'id, the idea that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, using him, the mercy of Allah is sought and rain is sought for. This is not something which is distant or difficult to comprehend. In fact, the messenger, his blessed saliva sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was the cause of water increasing. His blessed fingers, when he entered them into the milk and sometimes into water, there was water that would flow from his fingers sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the mu'jizat, the miracles that were granted to him are many. And all of that was through the barakah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him. So what does Abu Talib say? Abu Talib recognized this barakah even before the messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam received nubuwah. Or after he received nubuwah, but even before that, from when he was young. وَأَبْيَضَ يُسْتَسْقَى الْغَمَامُ, and a noble individual, يُسْتَسْقَى الْغَمَامُ bi-wajhihi, through the blessing of his face, rain is sought. Thamālu al-yatamaa ismah lil-araamil. Thimal is in the meaning of imad, malja, the place of return, the place of protection. Now, so the messenger was such that he would protect the orphans, and he would assist the ones that were in need, and he would feed them. And thamala literally means to feed. Thamala literally means to feed orphans. And that's why they say Thamaalu qawmihi is in the meaning of the one who takes care of his people. When they say fulanun Thamaalu fulan, it's in the meaning of the one who takes care of his individuals. And that literal meaning of tha, mim, and lam, so the actual root letters, which is tha, mim, and lam, their literal meaning is الشيء يبقى ويثبت. Now, for something to remain and to become firm. So that thing which remains, and it's not something which comes and goes, rather it remains, that is the literal meaning of thimal. That is the literal meaning of thimal. Naam. So he says, thimal al-yatamaa, the guardian of the orphans and the one who takes care of them. Ismatan lil-araamil, the protection of the widows. And ismah is in the meaning of ma yu'tasamu bihi. That by way of which protection is sought. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam was such, and through him protection was granted to everyone around him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and especially the ones that were weak and poor, and the widows and the orphans. Araamil is the plural of armal or armala, and she is the widow, yani the one whose husband is has passed away. طيب. Then he goes on to say, وَأَبْيَضَ يُسْتَسْقَى الْغَمَامُ بِوَجْهِهِ ثِمَالَ الْيَتَامَى عِصْمَةً لِلْأَرَامِلِ يَلُوذُ بِهِ الْهُلَّاكُ مِنْ آلِ هَاشِمٍ فَهُمْ عِنْدَهُ فِي رَحْمَةٍ وَفَوَاضِلِ. لاذ يلوذ is in the meaning of seeking protection in something. لاذ به يعني to seek protection in it. So when a person is afraid of something, okay, he looks for a place of protection, somewhere where he can seek protection. Now, and the literal meaning of ladha is to hide. Is to hide, to use something as a shield for yourself. Now, so he says, يَلُوذُ بِهِ الْهُلَّاكُ مِنْ آلِ هَاشِمٍ. Al-hullak is a plural of halik, and halik is referring to the ones that are weak, the ones that are so weak that they are as if they have been destroyed. They are so weak and they're so poor, as if they have nothing left, and the next step is that they will be destroyed and maybe perish. So he says, the ones that are weak, they seek protection in him, min ali Hashimin, from the family of Hashim. فَهُمْ عِنْدَهُ فِي رَحْمَةٍ وَفَوَاضِلِ. So they find amongst him, yani with the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mercy. In fact, they are surrounded by mercy, and that's why over here he brought fi, because fi is literally for dharfiyah. So it's as if rahma is like a house, and they've entered into that house, because fi are used for dharf. It's as if mercy is like encompassing them from all sides when they are around the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فَهُمْ عِنْدَهُ فِي رَحْمَةٍ وَفَوَاضِلِ. And not only mercy, rather fawadil, and on top of mercy, further benefits and further ni'am, those blessings that are passed forward. Fawadil is the plural of fadila, And that is the meaning, or that is the blessing which is muta'addiyah, al-ni'mah al-muta'addiyah. That blessing which is experienced by multiple individuals. Meaning it's such a blessing that anyone around you will experience it. So he says, the needy of Banu Hashim seek refuge with grace in his presence. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, to find mercy and virtues embrace.